In first grade was when we were first allowed to check out books from the library. For some reason, we weren't allowed to do it in kindergarten. I will never forget that moment of walking into the library, and I can still smell the wood of Muhlenberg Elementary School, and I can still smell that sort of musty book smell. And I walked over to a shelf, and I picked out a book. And it was a book called What is a Butterfly?, which was nonfiction. Up until that point, I had really only read or been read to storybooks. My favorites were The Little House, and a book about twin girls who didn't want to look alike, and I really wished I had had a twin, so I loved that book. And a book called Debbie Takes a Nap, which was put out by the Miss Frances Ding Dong School. It was propaganda to get people to take a nap, and my mother bought it so I would take a nap, which I never ever did. But I loved the book because it had my name in it, Debbie. So those were the books that I was used to, but then I found this book called What is a Butterfly? And I took it home, I walked home from school, and my mom read it to me. And it was as if this whole world opened up to me because it taught me so much right there in a book with pictures. I have a copy of it at home. I bought a copy. I used copy because I had to own this book. After my mom read What is a Butterfly to me, I went back to my elementary school library and I returned it and I took out What is a Tree? And then I took out What is a Frog? What is a Plant? And I was hooked. I was hooked on nonfiction. So from a very early age, I loved reading both fiction and nonfiction.